All right, I'm gonna do this here. If it's too dark, my wife told me to turn off all the lights. There she goes. Yeah, I want to give you a tip tonight, and that is when you're switching to a tech career or trying to level up in your position, it really helps you to think of yourself as a business instead of as a person trying to proclaim your greatness, because nobody really cares about who you are. Nobody cares about what you've done. They do care about the value you've given to others. And you'll hear me harp on that a lot. But the truth is, most of the people that come to me, and maybe it's you, they do come across as someone who's really trying to trumpet their own skills and background, and sometimes all the various things they've done. But none of those, not even skills, really get you into a position. What gets you into a position is where a company, organization, or even just the person, the gatekeeper, can recognize an instant fit for the value you've brought to other companies, other organizations, other people. And that's why it's so surprising to people with degrees and certificates and courses completed. It's so surprising when they hear me say, not when they hear me say, but when they don't get results and they don't get through. So when you will have your resume scanned, you'll have an ATS scanner come hit your resume, and you got to do a reverse engineering of that scanner, and you can use places like JobScan to do that, and then edit, doctor up your resume to use correct but matching terms, adjectives, adverbs, matching tone that to the job to which you're applying. So you take your resume and you match it up. And that's so important. But what's even more important is that you don't just come across as someone who's touting themselves as the best fit. You come across instead as someone who is almost like a business, trying to consult with the company who's hiring. So this is, I'll tell you one thing that I did that really got me ahead in my career, and that was being a consultant or a independent contractor. I've had people reach out to me through personal contacts, through networking, through recruiters, and even through LinkedIn, just reaching out to me personally. For example, someone reached out and they wanted me to finish a project. They had hired a bunch of people to do their project, and those people did not finish the project. And so I got reached out to, and I put together a scope of work. I called it a map of work, and got a contract. The beauty of doing contracts that way and doing work that way and getting experience as an independent contractor is, in my experience, it was valuable basically because I got to see how I could really provide value to someone. I had to really sell my services to that person, to that client. Normally, when you're applying to jobs, you're trying to sell yourself. That's what you think. But when you get, let's say have to create a website, we'll just say you're a full stack dev, and you create a simple customized web application or something. I don't know if you're doing Lambda functions to process data, or you're just setting up some S3 buckets whatever you're doing with a custom front end, whatever you're doing, let's just make it simple. You are creating a website, a storefront, and you're not using Shopify or WordPress or anything like that. So but you don't have the contract yet. You've got to sell yourself. What you're going to immediately do, I bet in your mind, you're going to think, I need to show that I can do this. I need to show expertise in this specific website creation. I need to show that I have done it before and that I can do it, and give confidence. Almost like here's confidence. It's on paper. I can hand it across to the other person, the potential client. Say, look, here's some confidence that I can do this for you. In my experience, I've learned a lot. I've learned how to do that and get contracts, I say almost at whim, whenever I want. But the truth is, I've done a handful of them, maybe 10 or so. That's 2 handfuls, if you're counting. But my point here is, when you are applying to positions, you may be getting ghosted, ignored, neglected. You may even be added to the list of people who get through to the second, third interviews, but you're not tagged as the person they really want. If you're not getting the success you want, which is getting hired, of course, then there's probably something wrong with your ability to convince people, hand over confidence to people that you can do this. And the way that you hand over confidence is just like I did in my contracts. I have to pretend like I'm a business because I was a business. I was a sole proprietor. I had to put on, in order to build the confidence, the sheets had to basically show that I've done this before, I can do it again, it's no problem. It'll be a challenge, it'll be very exciting. I would be honored to do it. And the way that you do that when it comes to your resume is to show the value that you have given to other organizations. Now, of course, in my situation, to share my story again, it could be, I only share it because it might be helpful to you or others who are watching this. In my situation, whenever I did a contract, I was adding layers to my resume. So my resume now is very thick. And I have a lot of confidence. So I need to hand that across the table and do that by showing I've done all these contracts. I've done all this side work. And you can do that too. And all you need to do is find people or find services, maybe even go to Fiverr. That sounds silly, but Upwork or Fiverr or other places where you can get gigs and just fulfill some orders. If you can't do that and you can't figure out how to fulfill orders like that, or you're in a really niched, let's say you're going for Scrum Master positions, find some projects and see if you can manage projects. But you've got to get creative. Ask ChatGPT, ask Claude over at Anthropic, ask AI pinned to large language models, ask what you could do to get some experience and do some side projects. Now, if you can't get the side projects or you're past that and you don't have time, then of course, I encourage you to simply think like a business when you are applying to work for a business. What does a business want to see? How can a business get confidence through a resume or a job application? And you need to write that way. Don't think of yourself as someone trying to get a job. Think of yourself as a business who is trying to fulfill the requirements of bring money, or if it's like a nonprofit, bring success to the company you're applying to. If you can't quite figure that out, I can see if I can help you. For sure, I can tell you more about my story. If you look at the link below, got a link over to my Instagram and send me the word doc or whatever I have down there. And just go there and I think I'll get you something free. Thank you so much for watching. If this has been helpful, would you give it a like? And if you have any comments, would you put them down there? I read every comment. I'll reply to every comment at this point, at the time of recording this. Thank you and have a good night.